One trophy, 15 guys. And it means something completely different to every single one of them. For a 22-year-old in San Antonio, it's the first stamp on a potential dynasty. For a captain in New York, it's the end of 53 years of pain. This is what an NBA championship would actually mean for every player in the 2026 finals. We start in San Antonio with the rookie forward, Carter Bryant. The numbers are tiny, a few points a night with tiny minutes in 2 regular season games against the Knicks where he played a total of 11 minutes without scoring. But here's the thing, Coach Mitch Johnson kept trusting him anyway. He could have handed those minutes to a veteran like Harrison Barnes and nobody would have blinked, but he didn't. And after clinching the West, Wembanyama looked at him and said, "I'm proud of you," right there on the court. The real take? For Bryant, a ring isn't about the box score. It's about being a 20-year-old who earned his way into a finals rotation. And getting a championship before he's even old enough to rent a car? Well, that's a foundation, not a footnote. But if you think Bryant came out of nowhere, wait till you hear how this next guy got to San Antonio. Here's the story of Julius Champagnie. Champagnie went undrafted out of St. John's, caught on with the Sixers, and in early 2023, Philly just waived him. Not for a trade, not for playing bad, but to free a roster spot for Mac McClung, so Mac McClung could enter the slam dunk contest. A 21-year-old thought his career was over because his team wanted a dunker for All-Star Saturday. 2 days later, the Spurs scooped him. 3 months after that, they won the Wembanyama lottery. Now, he's a genuine floor-spacing weapon, a knockdown shooter teams have to game plan around. He dropped 20 points with 6 threes in Game 7 that clinched the finals trip. And his career-high 36 points, 11 3 night this season came against the same Knicks, all on one of the best value contracts in the league. So, a ring would be the ultimate receipt. Proof Philly let a shooter walk for a sideshow. So, for a kid who cried the night he went undrafted and got cut for a dunk contest, a championship as a feared shooter on a title team is a mistake of his old team, framed and hung on the wall forever. Unlike Champagnie though, this next guy didn't just show up for the good times. Devin Vassell was there for the losing as well. Vassell is the longest tenured Spur of this group. He was here for the 60 lost seasons, the bottom of this rebuild. He's been quietly excellent this run, about 13 points, 6 rebounds, and elite defense, sitting top 5 in the entire playoffs in steals. The real take? Vassell didn't get traded onto a contender. He suffered into one. He lived the losing. A ring for him closes a loop most fans forgot existed. The reward for the guy who stayed through the worst of it and is still standing in June. And he wasn't the only one who lived through those losing years. With him was Keldon Johnson. Johnson carries the same rebuild scars as Vassell, but Keldon just won 6th Man of the Year. He went from rebuild era starter to accepting a bench role on a winner, around 9 to 10 points a night, in the playoffs without complaint. So basically, Keldon gave up the thing players protect the most, his starting job, and his touches. And he did it for winning. A ring is what makes that sacrifice make sense. It's the trophy that says the guy who swallowed his ego got the only thing ego can't buy. Now, every young team needs one old head who's already been to the top. That's this next guy, Harrison Barnes. The only Spur in this group who's already won a championship. He won it in 2015 as a young role player in Golden State. But that title is complicated. The very next year, he was a part of the 3-1 finals collapse. Now, he's the veteran on a babyface roster, the steady hand and locker room voice. So, Barnes' first ring, he was a passenger. This one, he'd be the guy, the vet who mentored a 22-year-old phenom and 2 rookies to a title. It's a full circle moment, and it would mean even more than the first, precisely because this time, he would have earned it as a leader, not a kid along for the ride. Barnes is chasing his last one. This next guy is chasing his first, and he's already terrifying. Stephon Castle, last year's Rookie of the Year, has been spectacular this postseason. Roughly 16 to 17 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and the primary defender on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He became the youngest player in NBA history to post 300 plus points and 100 plus assists in a single postseason, joining Kobe, SGA, and Westbrook as the only players this century with 125 plus points and 50 plus assists in the conference finals. So, the real take? For Castle, winning this young doesn't end the story, it starts it. Win one at his age, and the bar permanently resets to championship or bust. This is the kind of early success that turns a good young player into a franchise cornerstone with a winner's expectation baked in. And Castle isn't even the only rookie-aged guard making noise on this team. There's another one. And he might be the scariest of all. Dylan Harper, the rookie guard, the number 2 overall pick, and he's been everything and more when called on. With Fox hurt to open the conference finals, the rookie started and went for 24 points, 11 rebounds, 7 steals, and 6 assists in a 47-minute double overtime Game 1 win over the defending champs. He led the Spurs in scoring in Game 1 of the finals as a rookie. So, most rookies are hoping not to get exposed in the playoffs, but Harper, he's stepping up in the biggest moments of them. A ring in year 1 would confirm the hype was real, and that the Harper, Castle, Wembanyama core is going to terrorize the league for a decade. Harper only got the chance to start because the team's veteran point guard went down hurt. So, let's talk about De'Aaron Fox, the established star who came to San Antonio for exactly this. He's an All-NBA, All-Star, Clutch Player of the Year, career playoff averages near 20-6, but the deep runs never came on his old teams. This spring, an ankle injury even cost him the start of the conference finals, opening the door for Harper. So, the real take, Hawks has spent his whole career being great on teams that couldn't get here. A ring is the line between really good player, bad luck teams, and champion. For a star who waited this long to play games that matter in June, this is the entire reason he's a Spur. But none of these guys are here without one man. The reason this whole thing exists, the number 1 overall pick, the alien, the 7'4" guard, Victor Wembanyama. The generational one, the reason all of this exists. He's been the best player in the playoffs by several measures, about 23 points, 11 rebounds, and a playoff-leading 3.5 blocks a game, including a 41-point, 24-rebound, double overtime masterpiece to open the conference finals and a Western Conference Finals MVP. He set the NBA single-game playoff blocks record this run and became the first player ever with 15 plus threes and 15 plus blocks in a single playoff series. So, what's the real take? Let's just say it. This kid is on a genuine path to the GOAT, greatest of all time conversation. A 7'4" unicorn who protects the rim like Prime Mutombo and shoots threes like a guard. Already the best player in a playoff field full of MVPs at 22. We've never seen this combination before, and beyond the talent, he's becoming the real face of the league, the guy bringing the passion and the wonder back to the NBA. The player everyone stops what they're doing to watch. A ring this early wouldn't be the end of a climb, it'd be the opening statement. It tells the league the Spurs aren't building towards a window. The window is already wide open, and the new center of gravity lies in San Antonio. This is how Dynasty starts. This is how legends do it. So, that's San Antonio. Young, fearless, and just getting started. But across the floor is a team that's been waiting 53 years for this. Let's go to New York. Starting with Mitchell Robinson. He's been playing through a fractured finger, with the brace on his hand all series guarding Wembanyama. He's been arguably New York's biggest X factor. He's grabbing offensive rebounds at the highest rate, at 18.3%, which is the highest of any rotation player in the entire playoffs. The Spurs were the league's best defensive rebounding team in the regular season, and the Knicks have wrecked them on the glass in the first game. So, the longest tenured Knick, through all the hard years, refusing to sit with a broken hand in the finals, a ring for Robinson is the blue-collar championship. The one that belongs to the guy who gave his body to it and changed the series doing the dirty work nobody else wanted. Robinson does the dirty work down low. The next guy does it everywhere else on the floor. Let's move on to Josh Hart, the heart and hustle engine. He doesn't need plays to be called. He just rebounds from the guard spot, dives on every loose ball, and defends. He's top 3 in the entire playoffs in defensive rating, and among the steal leaders. The connective tissue of everything New York does. So, Hart will never be the leading scorer, and he doesn't want to be. Everything he does already exists in the service of winning. So for him, a ring is the best possible payoff. It's the championship that says all the bruises and the unglamorous work added up to the only stat he even cared about. Hart's still chasing his first ring. This next guy technically had one already, but there's an asterisk on it. OG Anunoby technically already has a ring from Toronto's 2019 title, but he never played a finals game that year. Sidelined by an emergency appendectomy, he spent his whole career as an elite two-way wing, and this postseason, he's erupted, up to around 21 points and 7.5 rebounds on absurd efficiency. He's shooting better than 60% from the field, near 54% from three, all while taking the hardest defensive assignment every single night. So, the real take? OG has a ring he never got to earn on the floor. This would be the one he played every minute for. For the quiet, do-your-job two-way star, a championship he was healthy and dominant for would finally complete the story 2019 left unfinished. OG came to New York in a trade. But the next guy, the Knicks bet the entire future to get him. The Knicks traded a fortune, a haul of first-round picks to bring Mikal Bridges home to New York. That's franchise-altering pressure. His usage has dropped sharply from his Brooklyn days. He sacrificed shots to fit, while still defending at an all-defensive level and shooting efficiently this run. So what's the takeaway? When you cost that many picks, there's only one way to silence the "was he even worth it" question. It's with a win. It's with a championship. So, a ring turns Bridges from the guy they overpaid for into the guy who delivered a title to New York. For a player carrying that price tag, a championship isn't just sweet, it's a vindication. Bridges has something to prove about the price. This next guy though, he has something to prove about everything. Karl Anthony Towns. This is the comeback story of the whole series. Minnesota gave up on him, traded him away after years of people saying he couldn't be the guy on a winning team. Cat has answered in New York. He's among the top win shares and defensive rating player this postseason, and alongside Brunson, he became half of the first teammate duo to each score 20 plus points in the first 5 games of a conference finals since Shaq and Kobe in 2002. Here's the kicker. If the Knicks win this, the trade that brought him here might go down as one of the most lopsided in NBA history. New York got Cat from Minnesota for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo back in 2024. If Towns wins a ring as the championship center in New York while the package sits in Minnesota, that deal gets remembered as a steal for the ages. And on a personal level, no player in the series has more to prove. A ring ends the "can't win when it counts" narrative that changed his whole career permanently. It wouldn't just add to his resume, it would rewrite his entire legacy in a single night. And that brings us to the man who started it all in New York, the captain. Saving the best New York Knick for last, the king of New York, Jalen Brunson. 53 years, that's the drought. Brunson is the captain, an Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and one of the most lethal playoff scorers alive. Around 28 points a game this postseason. Who's already proven he'll take over a finals fourth quarter, dropping 30 points with 13 in the final period to steal Game 1 in San Antonio. He stacked 30 and 5 playoff games at a rate only Jordan, LeBron, and SGA have matched in a single run. So, win this, and Brunson might go down as the best player in New York Knicks history. Full stop. The guy who ended the longest title drought in the building that calls itself the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. And the wild part, Dallas had him and let him walk. The Mavs drafted him in the second round in 2018, lowballed him on an extension, and then lost him for absolutely nothing in free agency in 2022. They got zero back for a guy who's now carrying a team to a title. They built statues for what Brunson's about to do. They named kids after it. One trophy is the entire difference between a great player and a permanent New York legend. So, there's only one trophy, but 15 completely different stories. A dynasty is waiting to ignite in San Antonio. But on the other end, there's 53 years of heartbreak waiting to end in New York. Whoever lifts it, somebody's life is changing forever. So, who do you think wants the most? Drop it in the comments, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.